Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the week of the 1st of December, 2024. Here's what I'll be covering this week. On Monday, dealing with desires and emotions socially. Two, on Tuesday, how to screen for good people. On Wednesday, connecting with anyone. On Thursday, the stimulus fame response emotion model. And finally, on Friday, marketing yourself to others. So, let's start with Monday. How do you go about expressing your desires and emotions in a social way? Well, story for that. I at my church, there's a lot of toddlers, and they don't quite know how to do this yet. So they throw a fit. They really just let vent all their emotions. That's not, and we see this a lot actually with a lot of adults who weren't disciplined properly. What's the meme of the leftist meltdowns that runs around in various circles, right? That is giving vent to your emotions entirely. And that's not a helpful way of doing things because it makes people look at you like this guy's just an infant. Instead, something that you can do instead is to express it in a way that is clear and calm. Hey, I feel this when you do this, or I feel this when this happens. That is how you express it helpfully in a way that people can understand. The second phase of this is using it to express the emotion someone else is feeling. I'll have to find the reference for it, but there's a text in the Bible that says, grieve with those who are grieving and celebrate with those who are celebrating. That is the ability to understand what someone else is feeling and then express it back to them as a way of building connection with them. And a lot of times the emotion is a way of wanting people want to feel seen. That's why they're expressing the emotion. If you can show them that you see the emotion, now you are able to help them out. And this is a little bit different for men and women here. As men, the men I respect always come back and say, I feel this when this happens. So here's what I'm going to do about it. It's that second element of planning. And if you don't know what to do about it, you can say, I don't know what to do about it. Could I get some advice or could I get some help figuring this out? It's that action orientation, that ability to take initiative and say, here's what I want to do about it. All right, phase two, how to screen for good people. Some of the, we all know the stories of someone who got involved with the wrong crowd or didn't make good friends or something of that sort. I don't really have any stories in that regard, but I know people who did, who fell in with the wrong crowd and just ended up totally destroying themselves. So what are some of the attributes you can look for to find good people? Well, you're looking for people that are honest, you're looking for people that are loyal, and you're looking for people that, oh, what's a good third one? You're looking for people that have a good grasp on reality. And it doesn't necessarily have to be physical reality, it can also be emotional reality, which gets into the second part. What is the value that someone gives to you, and what is the value you give to them? There are certain roles in any group that tend to get filled. There's usually a planner, there's usually a shoulder to cry on, there's usually someone who has something useful. If that is being in a social circle, you need to be keenly aware of what you provide to them and what roles that they can fill. For instance, I tend to be a bit more of a planner these days of planning events and saying, we're going to do this at this time. I also bring my own value, a lot of insight into very complicated topics, and a little bit of boldness in being able to speak truth. Those can be very, very useful to a group. And you're not necessarily going to find people that fill that, and that's okay. If someone is becoming a drag, being negative, it is okay to remove them by not inviting them to as many events or simply distancing yourself from them. Sometimes that has to happen. All right, for Wednesday, how do you connect with anyone? This is a, believe it or not, this is actually a skill. All of charisma is a skill. And it all relies on one principle. How did I learn that principle? By going out and through trial and error over the course of 2022 and 2023, figuring out what worked and what didn't. What's that principle? That people like people that like them. So if you can show someone that you like them, either in a mostly in a friendly way, they are much more likely to like you in return. And that's because fundamentally everyone likes themselves, whether they say so or not. Everyone likes their own company. So if you can show that you like them because they like them, they will like you through extension. So, what are some of the ways to show that? Talk about topics that they enjoy talking about, or give them a compliment. Hey, I really like your shirt. I think it's a really good color. Or, I like that story you just told about that time you got absolutely nailed in the face playing volleyball. Show that you like something about them because it will be received as, oh, they like me. And from there, it's using basic conversational topics, which I've talked a ton about, to expand on that, to find out other things that they like or other things that they might like. For Thursday, let's talk about the stimulus frame response emotion model. What is that? This goes into a lot of classical conditioning, which I think explains a lot of how humans react to things. So, something happens, a stimulus. You hear someone talking to you, you hear your name called. That then gets interpreted through some sort of frame, a set of beliefs or assumptions about the world and who you are. For instance, if someone grew up always hearing their name yelled at them, whenever they hear their name, they're going to have a little bit of a flinch response because it is always assumed that their name is being said in a negative context. And that can be very, very hard to break. It takes time to break that and conscious effort. As you interact with people, you're going to start seeing these frames interacting with each other, and it's going to be different for every person. Now we get into a response. The frame tells someone how they should respond, so they respond that way. And then there's going to be an emotion that comes about as a result of that. Oh, I flinch whenever I hear my name, so I'm going to feel fear. And that creates its own response back into the environment, recycle the whole environment. So, how do you use this? A lot of ways, there's a positive and negative model. You can use this as a way of avoiding stepping on landmines, so to speak. If you knew someone grew up with a bad nickname, you don't use that nickname because they're going to respond to it poorly. But if you know they like that nickname, then you can use it more often as a way of building trust with them. All right, for Friday, how do you market yourself to others? This is something that I only recently discovered about the past year. I was struggling with dating for a while because I did not portray myself as attractive. So, how do I portray myself as attractive? That I had to learn and then start doing. And that's the first part of this, marketing yourself to others, is fitting their image of whatever they find attractive, or it could be anything. If you want to portray yourself as a wise man, then you need to look the part. And this is actually where you can get to color theory a little bit. You'll see a lot of wise people kind of wear that professor tree jacket and maybe a little bit of the color blue, because that is culturally how wisdom is portrayed. And once you start seeing this everywhere, you see it every. Once you start seeing this, you see it everywhere. It's wild. So, but that only gets your foot in the door. After that, you have to earn their trust. And there's no better way to earn their trust than to call your shot. Okay, so you want to portray yourself as a wise person. Now you have to give them actual wisdom. Hey, maybe if you're inside and you want to get people to know you, fit the temperament of whatever's going on. Don't go above, don't go below. Or another one, always dress one level above what is expected. Then you have to let them go and apply that and see that it works. Now you've earned their trust. And over time, as you earn more and more of their trust, you can actually use that to define their image of wisdom. Well, you've always given me good advice, so I associate that good advice with the thing you're wearing or the way you act. And that is how you end up becoming the mental image of whatever you started with. So, first you have to fit the image of whatever you want. Then you have to earn their trust. And finally, you get to redefine it.